Well, the race certainly heating up for New York's newly drawn 10th congressional district. The district includes neighborhoods in Lower Manhattan, parts of Brooklyn. The list of contenders growing quickly. There are a few names in the race that you may recognize, one of them being the former mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio. This morning, we're going on the record. And Mr. de Blasio is joining me right here in person in studio. Good to have you here, sir.
It's good to be here, Dan.
So these rumors have swirled for quite some time that you were possibly going to run for mayor, and then you were going to run for Congress, and then the maps were redrawn, and now you're officially in the race for the 10th. Let me ask you first, what was the final push this go-around?
Well, look, I've said one thing I knew is I wanted to continue in public service. And I'll tell you, Dan, after everything we went through with COVID, it was tough, it was grueling. But I really was more inspired by the end of last year. I was more inspired than I ever had been by the people of this city, truly.
Yeah.
We came through, we showed incredible resiliency. It made me want to stay involved, to do more to fix the problems that we're having in our neighborhoods. And obviously, so many of our problems emanate from what's wrong in Washington that needs to be fixed. So, you know, I kept saying to everyone, I intend to stay in public service because I believe I can make a difference, and here's an opportunity to do it.
So I want to talk about this new poll that we just put out here at Pix 11, and it was about your time as mayor, really. So let me throw the numbers up. 21% of those surveyed in the 10th district approve of your job as mayor. Here are the numbers. 64% actually disapprove. Now, for undecided voters, 69% of them disapprove of your job as mayor. So I guess the question is here, what is the plan to regain some of their confidence and get them to vote for you?
To have a conversation with them, honestly, to go humbly. Look, I'm proud of things we did, but I also made mistakes. And I've tried to really acknowledge those mistakes very openly. I want to talk to people. I want to hear what they feel. I also believe, Dan, that was yesterday. People are now looking at today and tomorrow, and who they want to represent them in Washington, fight for them in Washington, who they think can do that best. But also, a Congress member is a local official, works in the communities of the district. I'm going to say to folks, look, I know I can get things done for you. I know I can, whether it's an individual family with a problem or a block or a neighborhood, I know I can work on these issues and get something done. I've shown it. But I think, look, if people have concerns, if there's things they're upset about, I'm going to be knocking on doors, I'm going to be out at street fairs, I'm going to be at bus stops, subway stations. Let's have that conversation.
And you're right, it is a grassroots effort. You're known for grassroots efforts, right? And you're talking about some of those mistakes here, but I also want to look into the polling, including your district where you live right now, and take a look at some of these numbers here. A matchup with Congressman Mondaire Jones, State Assemblywoman Yulin New, who are polling right now above you. Now, this is early on. They're 77% undecided, right? But what makes you a better choice in this community when you have 77% undecided in a district that you live in?
Yeah, Dan, I'm going to work for every single vote. I really want this to be clear. I'm going to go out there humbly to earn every single vote. And I put my heart and soul into this work I do. I really do. I'm going to go out and talk to people about what we need to change and why I believe I've shown them I could make big changes, right? Pre-K for all, 3K for all, obviously helped a lot of people. I'm very proud of that. The vaccine mandates helped save this city and turn us around and get us out of COVID, the worst of COVID. I'm going to say to people, look, I'll grant you my mistakes, and I want to hear from you what you think I can do better.
Okay.
But I'm also going to say, you know me. I've been a part of this community for a long time. I've walked these streets. I've been with you shoulder to shoulder. And I think people, honestly, look at each year as a new year, each election as a new election. And by the way, what you want in a congressperson may be different than what you want in a different office.
Right.
But it's about just talking to people and going out there and being in the streets of the community.
You know, Mayor, one of the big issues right now is what we are seeing play out right now, and that is, of course, these mass shootings that are happening one after another after another. The one we saw play out last week in Texas, Governor Abbott was quick to call out states with tough gun laws, such as New York, saying those laws do not prevent gun violence. You were the mayor of this city at a time that he is referencing. What is your response to that?
Well, before COVID, this city was undoubtedly the safest big city in America. We all saw it. I'm proud of the fact we drove down crime 6 years in a row with fewer arrests, less incarceration. We proved it could be done. So the model already exists, Dan. We got to get back to it. Now, we need federal support. We need the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, ATF, to do a lot better job of stopping guns from coming into New York City. We need federal support for violence interrupters. This is something the city is invested in, but the federal government doesn't. The folks in the communities who stop violence before it even happens. We can turn this around. If you think about the last 25, 30 years in New York City history, how far we came before COVID driving down violence.
Yeah.
We can do it again, but we need help from the federal government.
Yeah, and things change when you become a member of Congress because you can actually implement laws that make a difference, and that is what people are looking for this time around. They're looking for laws and action. Governor Hochul, though, she has said she wants to raise the age to buy certain types of guns from 18 to 21. As a member of Congress, would you vote on that, not only here in New York, but nationwide?
100%. Look, what's so amazing, Dan, is raising the age to buy these long guns makes total sense. Background checks, total sense. Making sure that there's a waiting period before people get guns to make sure it's not someone who's about to do something horrible. There are so many common sense measures. By the way, they're supported by a vast majority of Americans. Now, what's wrong is the politics, of course, particularly the politics dominated by the National Rifle Association. But you know what? As someone who has shown we can change our political reality, when I ran this city in 2013, people said I couldn't win, and we couldn't make changes like pre-K for all or ending stop and frisk. Guess what? We won and made those changes. We can do this again. The power of the NRA has been exaggerated for a long time. People are disgusted by this gun violence, rightfully.
Yeah.
They've seen children killed. It's become very personal. And so we need to harness that energy, overcome the blockade of the NRA. It can be done. But you know what?
But if it hasn't been done yet.
Well, and it's a fair question, but Dan, I'm going to say this about people in my own party. We got to stop the doom scrolling. You know, we got to stop allowing ourselves to be put in a box.
Yep.
Because when you think about the things that Democrats have achieved for people, we don't dwell on our victories, and we don't let that fuel our next victory. We get caught up in this idea that things can't change. Well, guess what? You look time and time again at all the changes that we successfully made, locally and nationally. The NRA at this point is a house of cards. It can be overcome.
Mayor, we're almost out of time here. I only have 45 seconds left. I want to talk real quick, and this is real quick here, on the issue of inflation. How do you address it? Gas prices, baby formula shortage, home prices.
Right now, Congress can lower prescription drug costs, huge burden on families. Right now, they have the power to do that. They should in this session, if not when I get there. Right now, we can get baby formula to people if we use the Defense Production Act and use the power of the military. It's begun, but it needs to go a lot farther. We can fix these problems. That's what people want to see in America. America can fix its problems again. We proved in New York City we could fight COVID, overcome it. We can do that nationally when it comes to fighting inflation and overcoming that as well.
It's going to be a long campaign season. There are 2 primaries here. We'll have you back to continue the conversation.
I look forward
Good
to it,
see you,
Dan.
Mr. de Blasio.
Thank you, brother.
All right, and come